Okay, it should be recording now. So, welcome everyone. So lovely to see so many familiar faces joining us live. This really warms my heart because you could be doing anything this evening and you chose, or morning, but you chose to come here and join us live for this conversation. I am with my dear friend Lina, who is a nutritionist and um, I'm I'm delighted. I'm delighted to have Lina, and it's we are going to have a fantastic time today talking about something that all of us, no one can escape this. No one can say, "Oh, this it doesn't apply to me," you know. What? You know, you're talking about food, you're talking about nutrition. It doesn't apply to me, Rani. Thank you very much. No, it applies to all of us. And so you might think the title of the talk is honoring your body and honoring your soul. And then there's so many ways to honor your body, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And I've also found that one of the key ingredients that we might miss or we might struggle with, some of us, including myself, and I'm going to share a little bit of my story, is that when it comes to food, like that's one of the way definitely of honoring our soul. So before I introduce Lina, I'm just going to say that this is going to be 1 hour long. If you need to leave, you leave. And if you have already registered, you'll get a recording to watch. And also, if you wait until the end, again, I'll share something else that, those of you who have been listening and up to 1 hour, you stay for the whole 1 hour, you need to be rewarded, right? Rather than someone dipping in for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So, that'll be there. If I forget, let me know. I said, Rani, you promised us something. Where's that? So, okay, so I'm just telling you that right at the beginning. So, a bit about me. Everyone who comes here, I guess you know a bit about me. I'm Rani. I'm a holistic psychiatrist. I'm a coach, and I started my health and fitness journey in January 2024, and I'll say a bit about it later on. And this is my friend Lina. She's a nutritionist, and I would like to jump straight into having this conversation. So we don't want to make it a interview, but I would love all of us to learn from someone who is from Cyprus. We some of us who have been exploring diets or have been following the science, we might have heard about the Mediterranean diet, right? And there's a lot of evidence about, like, no matter, a Mediterranean diet, as far as I know, is not a specific diet you follow for one. It's like a lifestyle choice. And she comes from Cyprus. So I would like Lena to introduce herself and say a bit about her growing up and why did she choose to be a nutritionist? Because I know she was her field was something very different. So over to you, Lena.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is exciting. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Australia. Woohoo! Amazing. Yeah, so I'm from Cyprus. I came to England in 1998 to study podiatry. And in Cyprus, we were very fortunate, we still are, to have a garden where we grew olives and lemons and oranges and figs and nuts and seeds and a vegetable garden, a herb garden. We didn't have to buy a lot of food. Everything was grown from our own soil, seasonally clean. And I still go and pick the fig from the tree when it's about to fall off and just smell it and eat it there and then without having to worry about chemicals and taking off the plastic and this and that. So I knew food as it was pristinely grown. So I came to England in 1998 to study podiatry, and I went to Sainsbury's to buy my fruits and vegetables. And I bought a six-pack of tomatoes and a long cucumber. I'd never seen such a big cucumber before, all wrapped in plastic. Courgettes, lettuce I bought, parsley, just to make a salad. And I went home and I couldn't taste a thing. And I thought, what on earth is going on? I nearly cut my nail just peeling off the wrap from the pomegranate, which we have so many trees in our garden, pomegranate trees. So I felt really alienated and quite sad with the phase of food that with the, situation of food that I faced. So I phoned my dad. I had to go downstairs on the 8th floor of my halls of residence to pick up the dial phone and put some coins in and call my dad. And I said, what is going on with these fruits and vegetables? I can't taste the thing. So he explained to me how differently they are processed, how they are gassed and waxed, and they're not even wine ripened. They have to travel from all across the globe. They're stored in cold storage. Often they ferment and they're rotting inside, but because they're gassed and waxed outside, they look good. So we buy them and then they're rotting in our fruit bowl. So that story I remember every single day because it really upset me. And I think fundamentally it was the reason why I became a nutritionist. Because even though I worked for the NHS for 17 years as a podiatrist, I felt there was a big gap in us educating people around how food is a healer. And I would ask my patients, what are you eating? For example, I worked in diabetic foot care. So I ended up working in the acute units in the hospital with pre and post amputees, with long ulcers, non-healing wounds because of infection and gangrene. And these people were being ravaged by disease. They were not getting any better. So all I wanted to ask them was, what are you doing preventatively to help yourself to get out of this situation? What food are you eating? And the answers would devastate me again. Piece of cake with cup of tea and, some beans on toast and some microwaved meals from Sainsbury's. And I thought, no one is cooking here. Nobody's talking about olive oil and lemons and, fermented foods and fresh food that we eat and salads, the nourishing raw food. And eventually I thought there must be a link between health and food. So I read a lot of books and I became very fascinated. So I left in 2015, I think, and I've been working as a nutritionist since then. And it's just beautiful because now I'm helping people to improve their health conditions, reverse their type 2 diabetes, which back then we were told was irreversible. They can help themselves to heal and get better and reduce their medications and really understand how the body works. And food is only a part of it. There are many other things. And also, when it comes to the Mediterranean diet, it is a lot of what we eat, but also how we eat it. We are very social creatures. We eat together with large families. We eat slowly. We eat simple food. We don't create complex recipes. It's just very simple ingredients from the earth. And we honor our food, just like honoring our soul and our body. We honor and respect where the food came from. So yeah, this is what here in the UK I find is very different. Of course, it's a different culture. It's a lot colder, so we can't do a lot of what we do back home. And also the lack of sunshine, of course, affects how the crops grow. So yeah, this is what led me to go from feet to food.
Oh my goodness. Isn't it interesting? Feed to food. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. You could write a book called Feed to Food. People would
Yeah.
think, oh, what on earth?
I think that's the first time I've said that.
There you go. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think it's a Freudian slip. Or even if it is, it's a really good book. Okay. Feed to
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Wow, and interesting, isn't it? When we say feed a soul, F-E-E-D, and it comes. All right, we
Yeah.
can play with words, but let's go back to food. Now, I have been studying to become a lifestyle medicine physician. And the training I'm going through is fascinating. So if anyone is interested, you might want to check out BSLM, British Society of Lifestyle Medicine. And there are 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. I'll quickly tell them just in case you are interested. So the first four pillars, very, very easy. MEDS, think about meds, okay? And the rest two I'll say. The first pillar is mindful activities. And E is about exercise and movement. D is diet, and that's the pillar we are working on or focusing on. S is for sleep. The fifth one is abstinence from addictive substances, including sugar. And the sixth one is social connection. Now, although we are focusing on food, all the six pillars are joined together. If you think about it, because we know good food will also impact our, our energy, our exercise, and it will also help us sleep. It will also help us be mindful. It will also help us connect. It will also help us abstain from addictive substances if we are nurturing our soul, if we are really listening to what our body needs, what our body's intelligence. So I love it. I'm always the guinea pig. Anything I try, anything I do, I'm always thinking, how does it apply to me first? Before I try to convince anyone else, how does it apply to me? So some of you know that I talk about the three principles understanding, and I have always looked at holistic ways to practice psychiatry. And initially, I think like, oh, I learned this tool so that then I can share it with my patients. So every time I learned something, it was like, let me be the guinea pig. Let me experiment it before I even try to convince anyone or share. Because something, Lina, I don't know about you, but when I really see something, and I'm not talking about like intellectually knowing something, but my heart knows, and it's like it's obvious. Like, the passion comes from there, right? And I know I see your passion, and I know why you're an incredible nutritionist, because that's how you grow up to honor food, and that's what you see. And same with me, same with me. And many people might also have heard this phrase, that we use this phrase occasionally. At least I have heard this, like, our body is the temple in which our soul resides. I love this. I've always loved this. Like, wow. Like, because, even if you think I'm an atheist, Rani, why are you talking about soul, for heaven's sake? But, heaven's sake. All right. But think about this. When someone dies, what do we say? Yeah. May the soul
May God
rest in
rest their
peace.
soul.
Yeah. May the soul rest in peace. And I always say, where's the soul when we are alive? So clearly, whether you are, whether I'm not religious, whether you're religious, whether you consider yourself spiritual, but there is an intelligence behind life. We are part of a bigger picture. Let me put it that way. And you call it soul, call it your higher self, but I would, this is my theory, that, this body is so beautiful. We have been given, and although we say, oh, I hate my body, da da da, and I have been there. I hate my body. I hate this part of my body. But the more I'm doing my own inner work and seeing the really what the principles, the three principles are pointing to, that I am really seeing beyond the, okay, the body is a temple in which the soul resides, to really, what does it mean? What does it really mean to honor my body? And what does it mean to honor my soul? So having said that, I would like to ask Lina some very practical questions. And then again, you might say something and I might go deep there, because this is how I see it. Currently, tell us, what is the recommendation from all the evidence base? Because at one point it was like you need to have 5 fruits and vegetables a day, and that was the, like, the broadcast, so to speak. What's the latest research pointing us to, like, in terms of food, fruits and vegetables?
Yeah, it's a great question, and one of my favorite ones. Just to say that this country recommends the lowest amount of fruits and vegetables, not because we are special, because they have realized that people are not even doing the five. The average person in the UK, and I met three of those people today, are doing 3.8 portions a day. Not only is that not enough, because the nutrition has come down significantly, between 70 to 80% across most crops since the 50s, but also we live in the most toxic era for humanity since the 1980s, when we've had about 800,000 chemicals released into the air through agriculture, glyphosate, planes up and down, industrial revolution. So we are dealing with a lot more toxicity and a lot less nutrient density than before. So the current recommendation is 10 to 13 portions of fruits and vegetables, and preferably across the spectrum of the colors of the rainbow, so that you're getting your variety of 30 per week. And Japan, where they have the most long-living people and the blue zones, they recommend 17 portions. Austria recommends 18, I think. And we're just coming quite low down in the UK because we're not used to having that fresh produce. Yeah.
So, question for you. What do you mean by portion? You said 10 to 30 portions a day. What's a portion?
A portion is a fist size. So if it's a child, it will be their own fist size. If it's an adult, it will be a fist size. So for example, two florets of broccoli. If it's peas, it will be a half a cup of peas or a half a cup of corn, for instance, sweet corn, even though that's more carbohydrate. But edamame beans, for instance, it will be a half a cup. That's a portion. Or if it's a salad, it will be around 80 grams.
Okay.
So
And
yes, about
yeah.
one or two fistfuls. Yeah.
Okay. Now this is great. And you mentioned blue zone, and I have heard about the blue zone. Some people might say, really? Is there a blue, like, is there a color blue zone somewhere? So can you say what do you refer as a blue zone?
The blue zones are where the people live the longest. So I'm trying to remember all of them. I know one of them is Japan, Okinawa. Then we have Ikaria in Greece, a very interesting population. Then we have I think it's in Peru somewhere. There is I think is it five or six, Rani?
Yeah.
Do you remember the guy that represented it at the IPM? His talk on the blue zones. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I
He's
can't
very
remember
famous.
his name, but people can check it out. No, don't
Yeah.
worry. I was not trying to trick you. It's
No,
like
no, no. Yeah,
it's
I'm
so
desperate to remember his
motivating.
name. He's very famous. If anybody knows the name, who I'm talking about, the guy that goes around the blue zones and studies the population, please put it in the chat because it will irritate me.
Yeah, yeah. All right. And people might just check it up now, and then they might be able to respond here, but never mind.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I want everything to be very practical, and I want to say a bit about my own struggle because, the more you know, the more you beat yourself up.
Okay.
Especially if you think that you have like sinned because you did not eat healthy. So everywhere you go, and this like people will say like eat real whole food. Oh, don't eat ultra processed food or processed, put the processed food to a minimum, especially ultra processed food. Don't eat at all if possible. And now we saw the evidence basis coming out that's saying that okay, it leads to like all organs will be affected, and it increases the all case mortality. So even if you have another a health condition, and you are eating ultra processed food, again it increases the chances of like worsening of the health condition. So this is serious, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is there's something about knowing what to do. Oh, I need to eat whole food. From now on, I'm going to eat like really healthy. And I know that so many years, like I used to have this New Year resolution, right? This time I'm going to the gym so many times. I'm going to eat healthy, boom, boom, boom. And it's easier said than done, people say. So I know in the past that like I really the reason why I would go to the gym so many times a day is so many times a week is so that I can eat whatever I like. And that was, and it's fascinating, isn't it? When you're young, your body can tolerate that, but as you age, and it's just like, and especially when you're perimenopausal and menopausal, and or you have other health conditions, at one point the body can't tolerate it anymore. So my question to you is, is it okay to say, well, 3.8 fruits and vegetables a day? I mean, I don't even get 3.8. Someone might say, I don't even get that much, and I beat myself up, for example, or I feel guilty. And that again is an emotional burden we give ourselves and beat ourselves up. So tell us a bit about, why do people struggle to eat? They know what to do, they know they need to eat healthy, and then why do many people, and you're a nutritionist, I'm sure you have many people who really struggle. So what are the top things that you have seen, or the reasons you've seen as to why people struggle to eat healthy as a lifestyle rather than a fad diet?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's lack of education, Rani. I think in our health system, there has not been enough emphasis given on food in terms of how it affects our health. The moment I start explaining to my patients what food does, that it's information, it's not calories, it's not, it is information. It is telling your body what to do. It's instructing your genes to behave a certain way. It's providing enzymes to create certain chain reactions in the body. The moment I do that education session and I explain, for example, that berries can help to burn visceral fat because a lot of people struggle with fatty liver disease or lack of energy. So I say, if you're not having raw foods, fruits and vegetables, no wonder you will not have energy, because where are your enzymes going to come from to create that, mitochondrial amazing dance, right? So it's about education. When people understand that fruits and vegetables are imperative to our health, and then they will start wanting to incorporate them. And I always meet people where they're at. So, for example, I had a gentleman. He had never eaten any fruits and vegetables in his life. He hates vegetables. He totally told me. He said, "If you tell me to eat vegetables, I'm going to leave this call." He was so like categorical about it. And his story was that he was taken into hospital as an emergency because they were thinking he was having a heart attack. He was having very low sodium. He ended up being diagnosed with an acute bout of rheumatoid arthritis the next day, and now he's living with rheumatoid arthritis. So I gently went and explained that an inflammatory condition is very strongly linked to your gut. So if you're not nourishing your gut with fiber coming from fruits and vegetables, your gut will literally be eating you. If your gut bacteria don't have fiber to eat, which is their food, it will eat you. Basically, will start eating the mucin around the gut membrane, and that leads to the leaky gut, hence the link with inflammatory conditions. So I think it's lack of education, and sometimes we have to use, I do use the shock technique quite a lot, where I challenge people's thinking. They also, it's conditioning where we are so surrounded by the convenience, right? You go into a shop and you see more packets of crisps or Haribos than you see food that you recognize as coming from the earth. So it's a mindset change, because I don't believe that anyone does not have the time to cook a fresh meal. It's all about choosing ingredients. And again, I don't believe it's a cost issue, because you can make the cheapest food that is very, very wholesome and nutritious for you. So it's just education and teaching people that you're either investing in your health proactively or you're investing in your sickness reactively. Nobody can escape a bad diet, and we've all been in there where we think, I don't need to eat healthy, I'm slim, or I have all the energy in the world, or I look good, I don't need to eat healthy. That doesn't apply to anyone. We all have the same genes, the same physiology in terms of our human species, and it will catch up with us. So it's best to recognize it now and start investing in prevention than in cure. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously, this is like education is key. And, there's a few more things that come to mind that I would like to share. That was definitely in my case. One is like I knew what to do, and I didn't really. And the thing I have seen, I've heard many people talk about is emotional eating. That the psychological that feeling that just sometimes we use food as an escape
Mm.
or to numb certain uncomfortable feelings. And earlier today in my Aligned and Free community, I was talking about how in the past, say for example, for me it might have been boredom, like oh, it's winter time, it's like dark days, there's nowhere to go, or you don't hang around so too much in the garden or something, and you have a bit more time and you just feel bored, and I might just open the cupboards and see what there is, and even late at night, and I know I'm not hungry. So I have been there, and the reason I'm saying this is that I used to beat myself up for that, and they're like, oh, like this is so not done. And so I have come a long way, and the reason I'm sharing this, and obviously we don't have time to go into this, is just again like starting where we are. And when I say like honoring your body, honoring your soul, even when we are like beating ourselves up, I mean, that's that could have been time well invested in like saying, okay, like at this moment, maybe again, eat mindfully, like you said, I have a desire to eat this extra bar of chocolate or whatever, and I'm going to eat it mindfully, and I'm going to just allow myself to just have the pleasure. And I know that this is a one-off thing. There's a difference between when you said how we eat and what we eat and how we eat. So like no one is perfect. And we will have parties and we will have Christmas coming up, and there will be this feeling, but we can eat with, oh my goodness, I should not be eating this, and like, oh, I can't believe that I'm pushing this, putting this all in my mouth, to like actually eating mindfully even what we would not normally eat. It's a very different way of again honoring our body and honoring our soul, and again like being present. I guess that's what comes to mind to say. But a simple hack for me, Lina, because I've been in this journey, I didn't know the power of filling up half your plate with vegetables. And so if I can give you a very simple hack or a tip for anyone, that I know people talk about the eat well healthy plate, which is the NHS eat well plate, which is not definitely not evidence based as far as I know, having gone through the lifestyle medicine. But if you can design a plate for yourself and keep it like half of the plate is vegetables, if you make it a rule, half of the plate is vegetables, and and like Lina said, it's so easy, isn't it, Lina? Because I'm a busy professional, and it's so easy. Even if I am not meal prepping, I will go to my freezer. I stock my freezer with lots of vegetables, different kinds of vegetables. I can just heat it up and put some spice or some seeds or something like that. Half of my plate is vegetables, and half is protein, and on a one-fourth is protein, and only one-fourth is carbohydrate, like whether it's pasta or whether it's rice for you, whether it's quinoa or anything. And that has really, like, that information was education, actually really helped me, because before, and I used to have more carbs and more protein and very little veg. So, what do you think about that, Lina?
Yeah, that's correct. That's the right way to eat. So basically 50% of what we eat should be plant-based. So plant nutrition. So if you're having your yogurt in the morning, half of that should be your berries, for example, and adding your nuts and seeds on top. And your meal, exactly that. Half of the plate should be made with vegetables and salad. And the more colorful they are, the better. So you're getting the pigments from across the color spectrum. Protein, yes, and carbs, talking about the complex carbs, the ones that offer the micronutrients like your chickpeas and lentils and beans and all the legumes. And yes, now we have the pasta made with peas or soybeans. So those are a lot better than the processed carbs that don't have any nutrients. Those are fillers. I call them fillers because they just take up space on your plate, but they don't offer you any benefits. In fact, the
Mm.
opposite. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to say something about craving. And because when you talked, when I asked you, like, why is it so hard to follow, like, do what we know in a way, common sense tells us, like, good food is this is better for my health. And we all know that we don't crave for a broccoli. And I know that I've seen a picture of you with a broccoli, you are like, eat your broccoli. It's so healthy. It has got all the phytonutrients and everything. We don't crave for a broccoli, but we crave for sugary stuff. And again, we know about the food industry, and and the ingredients they put in, so that once we start eating a packet of crisps or something which is not nutrient zero, high calorie, but we keep eating. So can you say a bit about the ingredients and what people should be looking for when they are buying something? Because occasionally we all like to have a treat, but if you don't know, again talking about the education, we might really not know how we are, you know innocently not honoring our body.
Yeah, exactly. So the food industry is there to make profit, right? And they don't care about our health. They care about their profits. And they're very, very good at marketing their products. And they're also very good at making claims. And they're also very good at getting people obsessed about calories and zero fat and low calories and whatever. But they're not talking to you about how that food was made and the ingredients. You must always be looking at the ingredients label. And this also goes for supplements, which is a topic that I'm very hot on and very passionate about because I've seen the damages that that industry has caused, and also beauty products. So anything that we buy, forget about the marketing and the claims and the beautiful branding and just look at what ingredients are there. When you see a lot of chemical names, think again, where is that coming from? Can I even get that in my kitchen? Because most of them are industrial solvents, made with benzene, and it's quite shocking. And there is a book I would recommend. It's not an easy read. It's called Swallow This, and it explains the secrets of the food industry, basically. It's quite a tough read, but yeah. So this is something that the food industry is very clever at being one step ahead. So what they do is they hire people and they put their brain, they do brain scans. So they give them certain foods and they see the brain activity that goes on to hit that sweet spot. Often, the sweet and the sour or the crunchy or the sweet and the salty. So those things confuse the brain. We're not naturally born to taste those kind of in between tastes. So then we don't know when to stop. This is why it's very difficult to stop with one bowl of cereal, or when you're eating something salt and sweet, it's quite confusing. So they're very clever at doing that. And also they have managed to engineer the human tongue in a laboratory so that they can now examine where the taste buds are and what to give the tongue in order to get that hit in the brain, the dopamine hit. Um, so it's a very clever cooperation. Now, when it comes to cravings, I always ask people to take a moment to think, am I really craving something, or am I stressed? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Am I bored? So that I use the HALT technique. So HALT. Am I really hungry? If I'm hungry, I'll get something, preferably something healthier. If I'm angry, the A, if I'm lonely or if I'm thirsty, then eating something is not going to solve my problems. So just have a second thought, like you say, mindful decisions. And the other thing about cravings, Rani, is that, for example, me, I don't crave junk food now. I used to crave crisps and things, but I've done a lot of work on myself, having done the education, having realized. And what I say to people is when you're getting the cravings, possibly there is some gut dysbiosis where the unfavorable bacteria might be a bit higher up in volume, in amounts than the favorable ones. So think of them as your bad pet and your good pet. So you want to be feeding the good pet that loves all the good stuff that is going to give you good health. So if the bad pet is shouting out for their treats and you realize that, then you don't give them that food and you feed the good guy instead. You go and eat an olive, for example, mindfully. Gradually, you will grow the population of your good pets and eradicate the population of the bad pets, which means that eventually your cravings will go away because you're replacing the empty foods with the nutrient dense foods. And often cravings mean a lack of magnesium and folate and iron coming from real foods.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I'll tell you what, since last year, this was last year, so I knew like my cravings had disappeared, and but I was eating for boredom still, or I would overeat with even the healthy stuff like nuts and seeds. And although nuts and seeds are good for you, overeating anything is not good. But I also went there last time, until last year. One of the things that's really helped me, Lina, and this is why I was really inspired to put a name honoring your body, honoring your soul. And I have a friend called Deborah Simmons. Her niece is here, by the way, so she would have heard her aunt talk about it. But Deborah and I talk about just doing this love experiment, or you can replace the love with a God experiment. Okay, so she does this beautiful experiment, and I think she has a program even all the love and a God experiment. But I have been experimenting with food and my honoring my body. So in the past, I knew that I was, wanting to really do well. I knew the signs. I wanted to eat healthy, and I did not want to overeat. But and I put lots of systems in place. Oh, I'm going to do this system and this system, and yeah, I need to, like, if I fall off the wagon, I'll just come straight in. But more recently, what's been happening for me, and this is what I want to share to anyone who might benefit from this. I have like been doing my own love experiment and about honoring my body and really like listening to my what my body needs. But I call it my own God experiment. And please hear God with it as a non-religious God or a higher power or divine experiment. But for me, it's like I have support here when I really know that I'm not going through my health journey on my own. I have divine support when I'm really where, because the place I'm coming from is really important. When I'm coming from a place of I want to honor my body, I want to honor my soul, something lands for us, and we know that, rather than this choice, like you have said, if I really am, I want to, I feel, just for the feeling, I want to have something, I have boiled broccoli. You'd love me for this, Lina. I have boiled broccoli florets, and I just keep it so that I can nibble on it. Or I have kept, because my dogs, by the way, I've got two dogs, they love carrots. So for some reason, so I also have some carrot sticks if I really, but when I do it before, I was chom 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 next, and now I'm so mindful. I feel full so easily because I am always knowing that there is a divine presence supporting me. So that has really helped me. I know. Oh, have you heard about Dr. Mindy? Dr. Mindy, I can't even remember her name, the one who talks about
Health.
the fast. Yeah, yeah. And she talks about eat for your gut microbiome, not for your taste buds. And I would love you to say something about
Yeah.
that, because most of us, and especially when you're craving, we're eating for the taste buds, not for the gut microbiome.
Yeah, so this is an example of what I apply the technique. You have your higher self and you have your lower self. So your higher self is your disciplined self who knows what the right thing is to do. And your lower self is the one that's the naughty one that says, come on, let's do this, forget about the discipline. You don't have to exercise today. You can stay another extra hour in bed or just eat the chocolate. Don't worry about it. So that's the lowly self, okay? So when we succumb into our cravings, it's a decision. There's always a conscious decision behind everything, as you know. Then we are becoming our lower self because we're not really serving our body and we're not honoring our soul. Whereas if we think the after effect, so instead of satisfying your craving, you're going to feed those guys who give you health and just respect those guys. Seriously, it's 40 trillion bacteria living in our gut, more than our human cells, and we're basically like a holobiome. We're more bacterial cells than human cells. So they have a lot to do with our health. So when we give them the nourishing foods, the fibers, the lignans, all of those beautiful enzymes that we talked about from fruits and vegetables and fats as well. Let's not forget fats. Then it's the higher conscious decision, right? Because that is what is going to define your health in the long term. Or in the short term, it may cause you problems if you're constantly satisfying those cravings, because unless we are so far ahead in the game where we are craving the good stuff. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, beautiful. You mentioned fats, and I know that definitely before, long, long time ago, I used to get scared of fats. And I used to go for low fat yogurt. Oh, what does it say, low or 0%? Then I'll go for that one. So I want you to speak about the myth about called low fats, and the second, and the fats are bad, and also about calories, calorie counting. People are like might look at the back ingredient and say, oh, like, oh, this much calories, so that's bad for me, rather than being understanding what are empty calories and what are the calorie, the nutrient dense calories. So can you talk about this?
Yeah. So sadly, the devastation of the fat fear has spanned across the globe, including myself and all the countries. Everybody I know that was born in the 70s or 80s has been through this fat phobia. And we know where it came from. I'm not going to get into that at the moment, but fat is essential for our health. And again, there is a strong link between lack of good fats in the diet and autoimmune disease and inflammatory diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis. If you think about all our cells, all our human cells, the cell membrane is made of phospholipids, which are fats, the lipids. So they allow the nutrients to come into the cell and the toxins to come out. When we're not having enough good fats in our diet, when I say good fats, I mean mostly plant fats, but also animal fats if it's a clean source of the animal or some dairy products. Um, then that cell membrane can function optimally. If there isn't enough fat coming in, that fat membrane, the membrane will get damaged, and then the nutrients cannot come in and the toxins stay within the cell. So fat is essential for health, and fat is not going to make us fat. In fact, there's a book which I would recommend. It's called Eat Fat, Get Thin by Dr. Mark Hyman. It's a
Love it.
fantastic book, absolutely. And he talks about the whole thing about the sugar and where it came from and the fat. So fat is good for us, guys. And yeah, I have a story to tell, but I won't go into that at the moment. And then what did you ask about? Calories. So it's probably my pet, what do you call the pet peeve, the worst thing that I can talk about. I love it because again, it's something that a lot of us will resonate. We're not test tubes and we're not living in a laboratory. We're not a thermogenic machine where we're counting how much heat is coming out. It doesn't have any significance on human health. So if you think about a tablespoon of chia seeds, in theory, they will have about 150 calories. Then you have a digestive biscuit, which is zero fat. For example, zero sugar, not zero fat, zero sugar. That might be 80 calories. Which one is going to affect your biology better? Okay, so the calories have nothing to do with it. And in fact, one of the most nutrient dense, calorie dense foods is olive oil, and 150 tablespoons in 150 calories in a tablespoon of olive oil. The therapeutic dose for olive oil and the anti-cancer dose for olive oil is 3 to 4 tablespoons. So that is 600 calories. If you say to somebody, oh my goodness, 600 calories, I haven't got that in my bank. Whereas when you know what it does, you change your mind around it. Okay. So do you remember Dr. Tim Spector? He said, kick the calorie. And also Dr. Robert Lustig, he said, when you hear somebody talking about calories, fire them.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. Um, all right, I wanted at this stage, guys, if you have any questions, please, we won't be able to invite you because there are so many things I want to ask Lina, but if you have any burning question, please put it in the chat. I'll make sure she responds to this. But I know you had got 10 tips that you share with people, and it could be multiple tips, but you selected 10 tips that you share with your clients. I would like you to first of all list it and then we can go through them like one by one. Okay?
Okay,
Are
yeah,
you happy to do that?
absolutely. So the first one is hydration. Most of us don't drink enough water. So that's one. I'll expand later. Second one is sleep. The third one is intermittent fasting or time restricted eating. The fourth one is cacao. We're doing a 30-day challenge at the moment with a very, very special cacao because it's got huge benefits. The other one, number five, is no snacking and to allow 3 to 4 hours between meals. Uh, Number six is be plant heavy. Number seven, eat fermented foods. Number eight is nutrient sequencing. I'll explain that. Number nine is for fatty liver disease, because it's something that I see a lot in my practice. Some tips for fatty liver disease. And number 10 is ingredients and not nutrient labels.
Right. Okay. This. Don't worry if you have not been able to write it down. I haven't been able to write it down as well. Okay. And Casey is saying, thanks for such an informative session. I'd love to know what might be the best protein option for people who follow vegan diet. So we'll talk about, we'll make sure that we address that. But let's go back to, first of all, number one. What was your number one?
Number one is hydration.
Yeah.
So 95% of people that I see don't drink enough water. When I say water, I mean filtered water. Please don't drink from the tap and or from plastic bottles. Get a stainless steel bottle and make sure that you filter your water. There's a whole thing about, yeah, well done. I got mine as well. Yeah, and we need about roughly about 30 mils of water per kilogram of body weight. Okay, so you can do your own calculation. This is the minimum amount. And if you're trying to lose weight, you may need a little bit more. And ways to, I mean, at the moment in winter, teas count and soups and maybe the more watery vegetables in the summer, like watermelon as well, so they can count. And one way to enhance your hydration is to add some sea salt into your container, just a pinch, because that helps the water to get better absorbed into the cells and it helps you to go less often to the toilet than if you weren't adding the sea salt.
Okay. Can I ask a very quick question? The why you should not be drinking from the plastic bottle? I understand, I think, because of the microplastics, and then if it's stored there, then chances are that you're consuming that. Why filtered?
Why filtered? I mean, there's a lot of things in our water, Rani. The pipes that we have are very, very old, and I mean, from what I've read and understood, there's rust in there, even though it doesn't show. There is organophosphates, there's chemicals, there's hormones, microplastics, which you cannot see, but you can taste it. There's even bleach in the water. And when I read all that, I was horrified. And for the last 3 years, we've just been using an under sink filter, and the kids, they love drinking water now. It's a lot
Yeah.
softer and a lot more refreshing.
And I bought a mini filter that we need to keep filling up, but it's we can also have hot drinks. It can also do that, but it's like a mini filter, and I love it. I think it's really worth investing in one kind of filter. I read about it some time ago, so thank you for clarifying it. Number two, sleep.
Yeah, sleep. So, just one example how important sleep is. First of all, when I'll just keep it simple. When we're sleep deprived by one evening, our cortisol can go up between 30 to 300% in specific time periods during the day. And what cortisol does is our go-getting hormone. If it's too high up, it makes us feel stressed, and what that does also, it kind of it makes the body feel like it's under attack, and what it does, it craves carbs. Okay, so you'll notice that when you're sleep deprived, the next day you're just blind going from for the bread, right? And what that does is, of course, it doesn't help with insulin because insulin is high, so the insulin resistance over time will increase. So we need to be mindful of our cortisol and how we're feeling and just make sure that we're getting enough good sleep. 7 to 8 hours, they say.
Okay. I'm very mindful of time, and I really want to make sure we have time for all the 10. So if anyone has to leave, please leave. I want to just respect your time. So we might run about 5, 10 minutes late, but I would like Lina to not rush very much and just go through each of the points. And you can always watch the recording if you don't have a chance now to just to listen until the end. But the other thing that comes to me about the sleep thing is, most people, and I didn't know this, that from the last meal of the day to sleep, we need to allow at least between 2 to 3 hours, because
Mm.
I have heard of many people like snacking just before bedtime. Even if it's like a healthy food, they might still snack something. And I used to be one of those in the past until I knew the science and I educated myself. So can you say a bit about why that's important?
Yeah, so when we go to bed, the last thing we want to be doing is digesting food. if we're going to be cleaning out our system overnight to go into the full digestion, let's not talk about autophagy, but at least just to get the liver to detoxify, which it does around 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. The liver needs to be clean of food, free of food for 3 hours before you go to sleep, because it all works according to Chinese medicine. That's the organs when they detoxify themselves, and according to the diurnal rhythm. So they all are interlinked. So 3 hours before bed will help you to sleep better, ensure that you've digested your food properly until the next morning, and also help your liver to get rid of any excess fat that is accumulating, just to get the toxins out.
Yeah, and am I right, Lina, in thinking that if anyone is struggling to, lose some stubborn fat, even this having the good sleep and living that much of time could really help with losing the fat that they have been basically trying to? Is there something like that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we've allowed enough time before, then of course the insulin will come down. And for any fat loss to happen, as we know, insulin needs to be really low. So the simplest thing you can do is just stop eating by 7 and just keep well hydrated, if you want to, until bed, but make sure that there's no food going in. And also a glass of warm water may help to accelerate any fat burning overnight before
Okay.
bed. Yeah.
Yeah, and my understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I was told that the last meal, make sure that you have got enough protein, because if it's more carb-rich food towards the end, then you might feel like, oh, I'm still hungry, and then you might reach out for something else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now, the third one is time-restricted eating or
Yes.
intermittent fasting.
Exactly. So the minimum amount that anybody can do is 12 hours. So from 8 p.m. until 8 a.m. And then knowing this information, you can build on that. The very significant and simple time window to do is 13 hours. 13 hours of fasting has been shown to decrease the chance for this is women that have had breast cancer, and women who have do a 13-hour fast have a 66% less chance of the cancer coming back just with a 13-hour fast. And then the next window is 16 hours, 18, 20, 24, 72, 3 days, and it goes on. So if you want to do a longer fast, which it's easier to do than you think, make sure you get the support and make sure you start slow. I see Lucy being all, oh my goodness, what's she talking about? But you'll surprise yourself. And the most surprising thing about fasting is that you don't feel hungry and you have crazy amounts of energy.
Yeah, and I would say, I would say that the model or the concept of the time restricted eating is so important, a TRE, because you might think, oh, I can't fast, but we are all fasting to some extent. And you don't have to do 16 hours fast, you don't have to do even 15 hours fast to begin with, or even 14 hours, but when you know that the minimum we can all do and is natural is 12 hours. If you think that you have to eat before 12 hours, clearly that is more like psychological rather than your body really needing the food. So thank you
Yeah.
for that. We'll move on because there's so much to cover. Number four, cacao.
Yeah, the cacao is one of my favorite things at the moment. It has been shown for a high quality cacao that has a certain amount of flavonols. This is one of the antioxidants in the cacao. Um, for 30 days, 2 servings a day. So it's a certain amount that we use to increase the circulation of your stem cells in your blood by 200%. This is huge for anybody that has any chronic injuries, any non-healing, whatever they have, or even poor vision, prostate cancer, just things that happen across time, even gut issues, low energy, building muscle. The stem cells can do for us. So cacao is one simple thing that you can do to make your life to accelerate your health goals. So if you want more information about our cacao, let us know. It's running low on stock, so I've stocked up for the next month as well.
Me too. Can I just say something about my journey with the cacao that you're talking about? Because Lina ran a 30 days challenge, and I love challenges. I don't know about you, like yeah, let me in, and especially if it's like fun. And so I did. I'm doing at the moment. We still have how many days left?
We started on the 10th of November, so we
Okay,
have
okay,
another 2 weeks
30 days.
or so, less
Okay,
than
all
2 weeks.
right. But I used to think about cacao as hot chocolate, the ones, the Cadbury chocolate, which has lots of like calories, empty calories. And that's and I definitely always fattening, I wouldn't have it. So, but this one, I have to tell you this, like Lina, I'm very grateful for Lina. She's my friend. She's a mental healthcare professional. I have been taking some whole food supplements, and I can share information about this if anyone is interested. Since last year, since last October, and by the way, I'm menopausal and I don't have any symptoms. My health is the best health, and I'm also very, as you can see, or some of you know, I'm very fit and healthy. But the cacao thing is fascinating. Like I'm using it, like Lena said, for the medicinal value. I have a family history of mild osteoarthritis, and I used to have like a lot of knee pains and everything. I never used to take any painkillers or anything. I'm just noticing it's almost like it's getting stronger. And of course, I feel more full, and I know that, I really feel very, very full and in a very nice way. And then I add it with my coffee, and like it's like a rocks. Oh, it's amazing. I mean, we can go on forever, but if anyone is interested, let me know, and I'll share more details. But that's number four. What's number five?
Number five is no snacking. So again, even if we're doing intermittent fasting, we shouldn't really be snacking all throughout that eating window. This is something that a lot of people do, even with healthy foods, because every time we eat something, other than if it's pure fat, we are stimulating insulin. So every time the insulin is there, then it can gradually lead to insulin resistance because the cells become less responsive. So I would say allow between 3 to 4 hours between your meals. So if you're having your breakfast at 8 o'clock, just keep well hydrated. You can have coffee and tea and whatever you enjoy drinking. But in terms of food, and please don't use artificial sweeteners in your coffees and teas. Then the next time would be 12 and then maybe 4. That's it. Yeah, just to allow that spike to come down.
Okay, beautiful. So no snacking. Then was it like plant heavy? Number six?
Yes, plant heavy. So just like you said, Rani, to have your plate half filled with vegetables and fruits. If you're having, more obviously more heavy on the vegetables than the fruit. And the fruit, the best ones to have are berries because they contain most of the beneficial compounds and they're lower in sugar and carbs. And then yes, so we know now we need 30 varieties of colorful foods, plant foods across the week. There is a way to get the 30 varieties in a day if you so choose to, in a very easy way. And again, adding herbs and spices, things like lemon and apple cider vinegar, on your plants, on your vegetables, helps to increase the absorption of those plant compounds.
Okay. Number seven.
Number seven is the fermented food. So remember the 4 Ks. So we have sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha, and kimchi. So those provide probiotic bacteria which replenish our gut microbiome and they give us better health. So anything that you enjoy, even if you just have a tiny amount to introduce those bacteria in there, but do be mindful of marketing claims and enhanced flavors and pink sauces and things that they add to it. I don't know. But yeah, just choose something that sounds sensible to you. If you're in doubt, I'm very happy to help.
Number eight.
Number eight is meal frequency. So this is again in order to work with the insulin response. So if you go for a meal and you have your veggie starter first, then you go for the fats and the protein and you leave your carbs for last. So that will the fiber, so the veggies and the soups and any veggie starter that you have, olives, for example, will line your stomach with that mesh of fiber and will allow less glucose to get absorbed. and then the fats and the protein, which create less of a spike. So you leave the carbs for last, so that you're creating as low a spike as possible.
Thank you. Number 9.
And number 9 is to do with the fatty liver disease, talking about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So some foods that can help with that are green tea. And I would say don't use tea bags, just go for the loose tea. Then clean coffee.
Why is that?
Because tea bags are horrendous.
Okay, all
I
right.
can
Okay,
send you a
thank you.
video if you want.
Okay,
It's just, that they're chemically processed, and yeah, we're drinking the microplastics from the tea
okay,
bags. Then clean coffee, so mycotoxin and mold-free coffee, something that has been certified as clean as much as we can trust. Beetroot juice and lemon again and apple cider vinegar.
okay.
And the last one is ingredients. So read ingredients on beauty products, on food products, on personal hygiene products, and on supplements. Um, the supplement industry, yeah, just be careful.
Okay, excellent.
Lucy
Oh my
gets me.
goodness. It's like a speeding at towards the end because there's so much. We know that we might have to do another one if there's a lot of questions. But what I'm doing at the moment in the chat, I am giving you a link of a presentation that Lina did, and it's on my YouTube channel. I think it's on a unlisted, but you might want to save it and just check it out because there she talks about the whole food capsules that she introduced me to. So if anyone is interested, then you can definitely have a look at that. Then this is the short video on the cacao rocks that I have put in my channel as well. If anyone is interested to find out more about that, um, I would say that this is why. Yeah, well done, you guys stayed until the end. So what I'm offering is because I'm doing lifestyle medicine as a training and I'm been reading up. I'm not a nutritionist. I have to put a disclaimer, but I'm also like really getting very very interested in food. Um, I'm offering like 30 minutes to anyone who wants to like answer like this is what my food looks like, Rani, and I want to tweak it a little bit. I'm offering 30 minutes of conversation just for that. So let me know. You can DM me, you can email me. But the one thing I'll say finally about food, that's for me, Lina, because this is so rich. But I'll tell you, my own journey has been really rocky because of emotional eating in the past and so on. Well, one other thing I'm really noticing is when people say pray, they pray before food, and like I'm saying, oh no no no, who prays for like thank you God. I don't do that kind of thing. I never grew up like that. But what I'm really seeing is being grateful. What I'm seeing more and more is like if when I have my breakfast in front of me or my lunch or dinner, when I really slow down and really bring that like come from a place of gratitude, come from a place of love, and that's my love experiment, by the way, inviting God in a divine into a presence. That when I think the food that way is so beautiful, and I have been experimenting with that, and that's the invitation. We can eat rushed, and and or we can eat the way that you were saying, Lina. And talking about thank you to food, I would love to thank you for your beautiful, this incredible gift that you have given all of us. I mean, I have been blown away. I've been very impacted by everything you have shared. And I bet that other people here who have stayed until the end has felt the same. So I am going to remove my pin and just can we all give a round of applause to our amazing Lina because she's been incredible and I learned heaps. I don't know about you. So thank you so much, Lina, for coming.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, if you have questions, you know where to find me. Rani can share my website and things like that. But yeah, for me, it's a mission. It's a mission to educate because of what I've learned and what I've had to unlearn. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
And
you. Have
see
a
you
good
another
evening.
time. Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye.
Bye.